Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new here, welcome. My name is Braden, and guys, we are already on freaking week 3 of the Halloween review series. Week 3 already. This is absolutely crazy, man. Where the heck is all this time going? But nonetheless, I am having an absolute blast covering Halloween on this channel. So if you guys are new here, consider clicking that subscribe button because we are currently on a 12-week journey leading all the way up to Halloween Ends. And now we are on Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, the one that does not feature the series' main antagonist, Michael Myers. Now, before I get into this review, I do actually want to say something about that really quickly. If you guys haven't seen, Tommy Lee Wallace, the writer and director of this film, is actually releasing a book this year. Halloween 3 does turn 40 years old this year. He is releasing a book called Halloween 3, Where the Hell is Michael Myers? A history of the most misunderstood film in horror history, or something like that. It's like something along the line. The title's right here in this image, but nonetheless, I thought I'd give that a shout out because I am so excited to pick this up and give it a read. Now, whether or not it's actually going to be released this year, I'm not sure. Like, these books that are only focused more towards big genre fans, like horror, you have to be following certain sources in order to understand that stuff like this is coming out. So if you follow Halloween Daily News or something, like Barnes and Noble isn't going to be a website that's going to fucking market this book or anything. You have to be following specific sources. But if you guys are interested in hearing more about the history, this sounds like it's going to be right up a Halloween fan's alley. I am definitely very interested in this because I want to know and understand more about the history and really what makes this film so misunderstood, because this film has developed a cult following over the year, or at least right now in modern day, it is now known as a cult film. This film did not get that great reviews when it came out, and that was to be expected because this movie was a completely different direction from the previous 2 installments. When it comes down to it, it had a production that Deborah Hill and John Carpenter only agreed to be a part of if this movie was going to shy away from Halloween 2, meaning it could not be a direct sequel to Halloween 2. Irwin Yablans, Mustafa Akkad, 2 of the executive producers on this film, they approached Deborah Hill and John Carpenter and they were like, you know what, we want you guys involved, but we want to know and understand what would get you involved. And they said that this could not be a direct sequel to Halloween 2. It had to go a completely different route, and they thought that the Halloween franchise could kind of become like a Twilight Zone series, like a anthology series, whereas every year a new movie would come out that would focus on different aspects of the holiday of Halloween, which could have been very interesting. And honestly, I think it would be even more interesting in today's day and age. I do think that the Halloween franchise is due for, an update. While I love Michael Myers, you guys know I love Michael Myers, and I know that a lot of Halloween fans do also, but I do think that this actually was a very wise direction to try and branch off if they were going to try and do something different. So let's talk a little bit about the plot. So in Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, kids all over America want a silver shamrock mask for Halloween. Dr. Danielle Chalice seeks out to uncover a plot by silver shamrock owner Connell Cochran. And man, I mean, this movie is just got a lot of very fun vibes to it. I think that Tommy Lee Wallace, who was one of the production designers on Halloween and Halloween 2, he actually turned down the role of directing for Halloween 2. I think it was mostly because he didn't want to step on John Carpenter's feet or anything like that, because it was going to be a follow-up to Halloween, and he knew that John Carpenter didn't want a sequel to Halloween in general. And so when it came down to directing Halloween 3, I feel like the fact that he was able to write and direct his own movie, I think definitely spoke volumes to him, especially because if this was going to be a new way to take the Halloween franchise, I think it was wise for him to jump all over this, and I do really appreciate what Tommy Lee Wallace was able to do. Now, there is a lot of elements in this movie that definitely resemble, Halloween. Not only does this movie have such a great atmosphere to it, but I mean, it even references the Halloween franchise. It goes as far as actually having Halloween 1978 playing, towards the end of the movie. That's what's part of the horror-thon as it's leading up to the big giveaway at 9, from the Silver Shamrock commercials. And then Like, there are a few TV spots for it as well throughout the course of this movie. So I feel like that this movie definitely wanted to reference that it is indeed part of the Halloween franchise. And I also understand why this movie could have been confusing to some people, because especially around the time it was coming out, it's Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, but Halloween has already established itself with Michael Myers. So I understand, like, where some of the misunderstanding could have been for an audience. But nonetheless, guys, this movie, it's got a great Halloween atmosphere, and it really does have a great story. This movie opens with Harry Grimbridge. He's running from something that we don't really know. We know that men are after him, but we don't know that these men are Silver Shamrock animatronics. And I think that this story, it's very wise. Like, it's a very well-crafted script if you actually look at it, because it has all of the mysterious elements that you want in a movie like this. Like, Harry Grimbridge, he's running from these men. We don't know that they're animatronic. We don't find that out until later on. We see that these animatronics are after him, but we don't find out about that until the script is ready to tell us. It kind of leaves us guessing as to what these animatronics are. What are they doing? Why are they after this guy specifically? And it isn't until his daughter, Ellie Grimbridge, comes into the hospital, comes into Dr. Chalice's hospital, and then them two have to lead this investigation as to what's actually going on here with Silver Shamrock. Now, I want to talk about Tom Atkins here for a second, because he is the main hero of the movie, and I do think that he is a good character. He has good intentions. He doesn't have great intentions with women, because all he's trying to do is getting in their pants. And actually, Nancy Loomis, who plays Annie in Halloween and Halloween 2, is actually also in this movie. He plays Dr. Chalice's ex-wife, Linda. And so I was like watching this again tonight, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I had to like pause it. I was like, holy shit, that's freaking that's Nancy Loomis from freaking Halloween. And I was just understanding that there's a lot of people that were involved with Halloween and Halloween 2. Dick Warlock is actually also in this movie. Dick Warlock played Michael Myers in Halloween 2. He plays a character called Assassin, and I mean, you could tell it's him. Like, he's like right on screen. And I do think it's really cool to see that a lot of the team came back. This time, the score of the movie was also composed once again by John Carpenter. This time, Alan Howarth also came back to assist him with the score, and I really do like this score. John Carpenter is actually a very big fan of this movie, and I really enjoy his score. And the opening of this movie also, it is unique because it does feature a pumpkin, but it's more of like a digitalized pumpkin that is supposed to kind of replicate what the Silver Shamrock commercials are like, as they play out throughout the course of the movie. So I really do think that this was a very, very wise update, and I think that the movie from a technical standpoint is very smart, because not only does it like get you right back into that Halloween atmosphere that Halloween and Halloween 2 brought you in, but it really is setting you up for what plays out during the duration of Halloween 3. So I do want to continue with Dr. Chalice's character, because again, he does have very good intentions. While yes, he is criticized massively for his character for sleeping with Ellie Grimbridge when she clearly is much younger than him, but that isn't really a big issue for me. The thing that strikes me about his character is that he is trying to investigate this because he finds something very odd. Like, he sees Harry Grimbridge come in and he sees that there is something wrong with him. He thought that he was just a nut, and he literally pulls him in and says, they're all going to kill us. And this movie was very heavily inspired by Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and we definitely get insight on that, especially more towards the end with Ellie, but more on that here in a second. But nonetheless, that piques some interest in him, and literally moments later, Harry Grimbridge ends up getting killed by one of those Silver Shamrock animatronics. So it only makes sense that he would be curious as to why does this guy want to kill him? What is going on here? And that is what leads him and Ellie to go out to Santa Myra, California, where they need to investigate Silver Shamrock and really figure out what is going on with this company. What is their intention? What are they trying to do? Because this commercial is just all over the freaking place. And honestly, this movie is just so much fun. Like, from the very beginning to the very end, it pretty much begs the audience to stay with it until the very end. And that's the one thing I really like about it, is that, there's constant questions that us audience members probably probably get throughout the movie, or at least you should have these questions, and you get answers to all of them. This script is not bad in that aspect. I will say from a technical standpoint, there are, again, just some cuts that might seem a little bit weird, and I could see where the film gets its criticisms because it doesn't have Michael Myers in it, and it is involved in the Halloween franchise. And I truly do think that if this movie was just called Season of the Witch, I feel like that it would have been a lot better off, and people wouldn't have compared it to the other two Halloween films. But thankfully, this movie has gotten a lot of love over the course of the last several years, and it has a cult following, and people seem to really enjoy this movie more now. It's almost like the Rotten Tomatoes score even goes up more every single day on this movie. Like, I mean, I just did a stream on Good Real Hunting's channel on Friday night. It was a Halloween trivia night, and we were answering a question about Halloween 3, and I think it was actually relating to the Rotten Tomatoes score, and what is their current rating on IMDb? I believe it's a 45%. It might even be higher now, but even like the answer to that question when we were all answering it, it was like 43 the day before, and now it was 45. So it is currently going up, and I think and I love that people are appreciating this film a lot more. And if you actually read the history behind it, it is all very interesting stuff. Like, Tommy Lee Wallace was actually not the original director for it. There was another guy that was supposed to direct. I can't remember his name right now. And actually, British science fiction writer Nigel Kneale was actually the one that wrote the original script for this film. And Dino De Laurentiis, who was the film distribution right holder, didn't appreciate the fact that the script was a lot more subtle. This movie has a lot of elements to the Halloween franchise. Like, these androids actually replicate some of the stuff that Michael Myers does in the Halloween franchise. Like, a shot will be lingering, and then one of them will step in and the music will cue. I think that this movie is very smart, and I think that this movie definitely replicates what made the first two Halloween films so great. If you really pay attention to it, you can get the vibe that it's the same people that were involved with these other films, and I do think that this series could have been very well put together had they have decided to go an anthology route. So I really enjoy Halloween 3, man. I think that it is a damn fun movie. I think that it is incredibly underappreciated. I am very much looking forward to Tommy Lee Wallace's book, and I want to read more about the history. I want to read more about the production, because when it comes down to it, like, the studio clearly stepped in to some of even the previous writers and directors and said that it needs to be more violent. A lot of the time, studios have more of a say than the actual creative forces, and that is what interrupts the story. So I actually wonder if that's the exact same thing here. Like, Tommy Lee Wallace, he does a great job with writing and directing this movie, but I'm definitely curious to see what he has to say as to why he thinks that this movie is the most misunderstood horror movie ever to be made. And I really appreciate this movie. I think that the idea of bringing witchcraft involved and just having something along the lines that makes it a little bit different, sacrificing kids, that's a very, very dark element of this movie. Like, we get some actual really, really insane kills throughout this movie that is just like, whoa, like, what the fuck? Like, some of the imagery that is on screen, you're just like, what the hell? Like, what the hell just happened? How the hell is snakes coming out of his brain, or spiders coming out of their brain, or there's like all these like crickets and roaches and stuff coming out of these kids' heads, and it is very graphic stuff. Like, it's stuff that it just kind of like leaves you just like, oh shit. Like, that's like what's going on here. Like, we see that, and Dr. Chalice obviously doesn't want this to happen to an entire country full of kids.
Turn it off. Turn it off. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
Again, I am very much on board with this movie. I think this movie is very, very, very underappreciated. I cannot wait to pick up this book, and honestly, I wouldn't mind a direct sequel to Halloween 3 or a TV series, maybe an anthology Halloween series in the coming years that maybe picks up from Halloween 3, and I definitely want to see, I know that the newest Halloween movies definitely resembled the Halloween 3 masks, like that was definitely certain callbacks to Silver Shamrock, but I would like to see more about this company in general. I think that Connell Cochran was a fucking fantastic villain. Just the whole town of Santa Myra is just very creepy. The atmosphere, just how when Dr. Chalice and Ellie are entering fucking town, like how everyone is just looking at them, and it almost kind of gives you, like, if you've seen Get Out, you know, like the vibe, like after Chris walks into the house and everyone just kind of like stops and stares at him as he like goes up the stairs. I know that that movie is several years, like, you know, newer than Halloween 3, but if you could like pinpoint a scene, you guys know what I'm talking about. It's like they're entering town and everyone's just kind of like watching them come into town. Like they know that they're outsiders. It's definitely one of the tropes that has been in horror forever. But nonetheless, I do really like this movie, and I like how it is very mysterious and how it definitely gives you the answers throughout the course of the movie. Cinematography is great. The acting is a little cheesy from time to time, but nonetheless, it's to be expected in slashers, guys. It's expected to be in horror franchises, and I just have such a great time with this movie, and I gotta say that this movie, in my opinion, is an avid Halloween partier, which is a B on my scale. So, with all that being said, post comments down below. Let me know, what do you guys think of Halloween 3, Season of the Witch? Do you guys love it? Do you guys hate it? Do you guys maybe hope to see more of a continuation of Halloween 3 in the future? Whatever your guys' thoughts are, comment below, let me know, and as always, if you guys like this, don't forget to join me on my journey to 10,000 subscribers, and I will see you guys next week for Halloween 4.